again, everyone. It is another football weekend. It is Saturday, so the college takes first. But the game of the week might have been, the two best games of the week might have been last night. Arizona State pulls the upset, I'd say mild upset, over TCU, 27-24. And of course, probably what would be the game of the weekend, Virginia defeating and upsetting Florida State 46-38 in double overtime. That was an ESPN instant classic last night, if you ask me. That is how good that game was. And of course, with that big game coming up for Florida State next week against Miami, this one's going to hurt them in the polls. They were in the top 10. Well, you can bet they'll go down to at least 15 probably. But what two good games you had to watch last night. One early and one late if you're out on the West Coast. As for today's action, on paper you would think USC and Illinois would be a good game, but the way Illinois played last week, I see USC climbing up in the polls. I see Illinois dropping out of the top 25. Other big games today, LSU and Ole Miss. That will be, I think, the game of the week. Should be either ESPN or ABC. That should be a real fun game to watch. Of course, you got number one Ohio State and Washington, a rematch of the national championship game of 2 years ago. Washington's just not the same team now. Ohio State once again looks loaded. We'll see how that one turns out. Indiana continues to impress like last year. They'll be on the road against Iowa. And the two big games of the day, to my opinion, Alabama-Georgia, which is always a good game. Of course, Georgia's 5, Alabama 17. Of course, the game of the week that's being hyped by the networks tonight, number 6, Oregon, and number 3, Penn State. I'm hoping that Big Ten game lives up to the hype. I hope it's as good as what we saw last night with Virginia and Florida State. And while we're at, let's talk some baseball. With 2 games left on every team's schedule, there is a lot to be decided. First of all, in the National League, you still got the number 1 overall seed on the line. The Brewers have a 1-game lead right now. The Phillies, right now the Brewers are playing the Reds, who are also playing for that last playoff spot. They're trying to edge out the Mets, who right now who are dead even, but hold a tiebreaker over them. The Diamondbacks need to win the last 3 games and need both the Mets and the Reds to have a chance. Of course, the Diamondbacks are playing the Padres, who are in the playoffs. I don't think they want to help them whatsoever. I don't think they really have anything to play for. The Padres, now it looks like they're pretty much locked into that number 2 wild card seed. They would need to win the last 3 games and have the Cubs lose the last 3 games over the weekend for that to happen. And in the American League, the Yanks and Blue Jays, who are even right now, but the Blue Jays hold the tiebreaker, are still fighting for the division, despite the fact the Yanks were 5 games behind last week. The Guardians and Tigers are tied for the division right now, but I think the Guardians have the tiebreaker right now. They're both 86 and 74. The Mariners have clinched the division. They still have a chance at a number 1 seed. Most likely, though, they have pretty much locked in the 2 seed. Looks like I don't think the Astros really have a chance anymore. No, they do. They're only 1 game behind the Guardians and the Tigers for that last playoff spot. So there's a lot to be determined on that one. And of course, today the Yanks and Orioles are playing at 105. Cubs and Cardinals are playing at 2:20. The Rays and Jays, a big game for the Blue Jays and Yankees. They're at 3:07. Of course, everyone plays at 3 o'clock tomorrow, and the final day of the season. The Mets and Marlins, a big game for the Mets. They play at 4:10. Tigers and Red Sox, that's a big game. Both teams have stuff right on the line. Another 4 o'clock game. Phillies play at 6 o'clock. Reds and Brewers. This is why the expanded thing in baseball was great, because a lot more teams are involved, a lot more fan bases are involved, and they're no longer giving away September to college football and the NFL anymore, which is a good thing for business. Dodgers and Mariners, they're still playing for stuff. That's going to be a good game. And the Astros and the Angels, well, the Astros need a lot of help right now. So there is your sports roundup today. Enjoy the sports action. We'll talk more NFL tomorrow, as well as the final day of the Major League Baseball going down. So God bless you all. You all keep the faith, and we'll talk to you later.